So here we are at some channel that's all about maligning Jonathan Kleck by some guy that's kind of obsessed with me. And if you go look at his videos, they're kind of funny, really. But what he does is he really watches a lot of stuff.
And like, kind of like a little serial killer-ish, goes and tries, oh, I'll use this, and I'll put it here, and then I'll put this here. And he misrepresents everything, which is malice, maligning, contemptuous. And now here Jim and Karen and Kathy are aligning themselves with this channel.
That's all it is. But Gene, which I know is not your name, yeah, if you're trying to ask me out on a date, you're doing it the wrong way, Gene. It's like, dude, do you obsess much, bro? Okay, you see right here, Jonathan Kleck sets the ark's stage. Let's look at that part. Sets the ark's stage.
Can you imagine if you're me, and last night I'm just crying with tears dripping in my Bible, thanking God for showing me that yes, your time is almost here. I'm about ready to show up, and I'm just crying with tears dripping in the Bible. I'm sure Gene will make fun of that because he's so godly and he's so kind and he has such a kind, non-hateful nature. Anyone that's at Gene's channel probably has the same nature. Wouldn't you imagine? I mean, if you're at Gene's channel and you're agreeing with Gene about doing a wonderful job, you probably have the same nature as Gene. Just saying.
Okay. But look at this, Gene. God used you, bro. Jonathan Kleck sets the ark's stage. Planting incriminating evidence. Shut up, lunatic. Okay. You're right.
Planting incriminating evidence. Shut up, lunatic. Okay. You're right. You're right. I'm setting the stage right now for the ark. The Lord's coming to gather what belongs to him. Yeah.
And not those that are telling half-truths, leaving out information that would exonerate somebody else, and people would have a different opinion of them if you actually said what you actually knew.
Whoa, wait a second here, Jonathan. I think we need to hear what you just said again.
And not those that are telling half-truths, leaving out information that would exonerate somebody else, and people would have a different opinion of them if you actually said what you actually knew.
Oh my, JJ. I do believe that this is about to get interesting. So let's listen to that one more time.
And not those that are telling half-truths, leaving out information that would exonerate somebody else, and people would have a different opinion of them if you actually said what you actually knew. If you actually said what you actually knew.
Well, that's interesting how you say that, JJ. You say, not those who are leaving out information that would exonerate somebody, and that people would have a different opinion of them if they knew. I mean, you do realize that you're being one of the hugest hypocrites that I've ever come across, JJ. You do know that what you just said right there, where you're talking about my channel and referring to somebody leaving out information that would exonerate somebody if it were to become out in the open and visible to everyone else?
And not those that are telling half-truths, leaving out information that would exonerate somebody else, and people would have a different opinion of them if you actually said what you actually knew.
You do know that that very same rule applies to you too, don't you, JJ? Because for you to come out whimpering and moaning about how the fact that you'd given Jim $10,000 for some trailer, but it never was mentioned, right, JJ? That fact was supposedly being hid from the public, eh?
Like I'd given Jim $10,000 for the use of one trailer just so he had money while he's taking money from this person and that person, all of which were affiliated with my ministry before they ever met Jim.
And then you kept on whimpering and moaning about how you had to give Jim $15,000 for some white Mustang car. But that too was never mentioned. Right, JJ?
There was something about the white Mustang. I gave Jim $15,000 for a white Mustang that Mike donated.
And for some reason all this nonsense really sticks in your craw, doesn't it, JJ? So you made it your priority to inform the whole world just how generous Kleck Ministries was. Yep, you made it a point to lie to everybody and tell them to their faces that my channel never bothered to mention the $10K for the trailer, as well as the $15K for the car you say your kid didn't want.
And I was like, you know what? You probably need operating capital, and it needed some work on it anyway. I was like, I'll give you money for this and help keep you guys up and running.
They didn't mention that, did they? Nah. They didn't mention that I gave them money for the Mustang and the trailer, did they? No. No.
So why did you feel the need to say that, Jonathan?
No.
Because that statement you made was a bold-faced lie.
They didn't mention that, did they? Nah. They didn't mention that I gave them money for the Mustang and the trailer, did they? No.
You heard me, JJ. A bold-faced lie.
Gene called me a liar. That's slander, everybody. You just heard it. Gene called me a liar, and that really hurts my feelings. And believe you me, we're gonna be looking into that too. Just as soon as we're done milking your moniker for all it's worth.
So do you remember how I said that those very same rules that apply to everybody? Well, you're not exempt, are you, JJ? Nope. Jonathan Kleck sets the arc stage by planting incriminating evidence on the twins ahead of time. And that's on what, September 15th? But this is the exact video that you told everybody you watched. Right, JJ?
Look at this, Gene. God used you, bro. Jonathan Kleck sets the arc stage. Planting incriminating evidence. Shut up, lunatic. Okay. You're right. I'm setting the stage right now.
That's the video right there. And it's only 20 minutes long, so I'd have to think that it was safe enough to assume that you would have watched the entire video. Did you watch the entire video? Because you sure were talking about it like you had.
They didn't mention that, did they? Nah. They didn't mention that I gave them money for the Mustang and the trailer, did they? No.
But this is yet just another classic case of Jonathan Vargo Kleck demonstrating his do as I say, not as I do doctrine. And Vargo. And you want to know why I said that, Jonathan? It's because you're guilty of committing the very same thing that you're accusing me of. And it's extremely sad, JJ. Because I dedicated the entire last 6 minutes of my video discussing exactly what you're saying I didn't tell anybody about. Which would make you what again, Jonathan? Yep, that's right. That would make you a liar.
But now, they're over wallowing around at this guy's channel, and this guy's channel's all malice, hate, contempt.
So to get the support of the people behind him, Jonathan immediately took to the YouTube airwaves to complain that he was being treated unfairly. And Karen somehow turned out to be the manifestation of Satan. And then he proceeded to make it about the most worldly thing in the world.
Before I got saved, my life, I was like the rest of the world. Your money is your money. Now the money that he gives me is his money, and I do what he tells me to with what he gives me.
Jonathan went straight to the issue of money.
By the way, the whole time the Lord is pressing on me, I want you to help them financially. So I step in and I'm paying all the bills. And I mean electrical, internet, insurance for vehicles, and I'm also giving the tenants money just so they have, here's 400, here's 500. I'm just going to funnel you guys money. To pay all your bills. So you know what I did? I just said, here, let me give you guys some of the money I have available, and you guys have your own personal bank. Now, a while back, the person that I laid hands on was speaking contemptuously about the people there. And she had started saying words like,
well, it would be nice if they chipped in on bills.
And I was so shocked. I was like, what? Wait a minute. I'm the one that's been paying all the bills.
I was like, what? Wait a minute. I'm the one that's been paying all the bills.
I financially backed the Ark tremendously. A lot of improvements. A whole lot of money went into improvements. Just one building over $30,000 into the little Ark building, with electrical, plumbing, walls, accoutrements, bathtubs, showers, shower pans, all that good stuff. Trips going there. There's over $30,000 in that one little building. Where all this money and improvements from myself, as well as maybe y'all. I mean, I know there's some people that I've come to find out recently that have donated pretty substantial amounts of money, $5,000 here, $6,000 there, $5,000 here, not including $10,000 I gave to Jim for one of the trailers that was donated to the Ark. I gave Jim $10,000 and I said, here's money for the tenants. I'll take one of the trailers and use it for a few months while my son lives in it. So I put the trailer there, but then I sent it back. But I gave Jim $10,000. Mike, who's donated several things, donated an old Mustang, and I gave Jim $15,000.
$15,000
for the Mustang that was donated to help the people at the Ark. So I said, you know what? I'll help convert that to cash. But anyway, so long story short, so there's just $25 in cash, not to mention a whole lot of other money that was given to Jim and Karen. Everything was going, relatively well. There was some dysfunctionality, and it actually stemmed from Jim and Karen, and some stuff that occurred in a kind of a lack of spiritual leadership way out there, and the Lord told me to go over there and take over the government. Corey, were you there?
The Lord told me to go over there and take over the government. Corey, were you there?
And the Lord told me to go to the Ark, tell Jim and Karen I'm taking over the government here, like the management, because it was being mismanaged.
Emotional, damn it!
And the Lord told me to go to the Ark, tell Jim and Karen I'm taking over the government here, like the management, because it was being mismanaged.
It wasn't you that killed me, Johnny. It was the Lord.
It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Well, if you take the $10,000 that I gave them for a trailer, I gave them $10,000 for a trailer. I gave them $15,000 for a Mustang that Mike does, sitting right out here in the driveway. So I have the car sitting in the driveway, but I gave Jim $15,000 for the vehicle. I was infusing money to make the structures, and Jim's buying structures in his name without even asking me. And I was like, I asked him, if you're going to make any big purchases, let me know. And then he bought a building that had basically, I guess, a $10,000 note. And he bought it without even asking me. But I've been helping make all the payments. And then I paid to convert it. It wasn't you that killed me, Johnny. It was the Lord.
It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Wonder what the odds are. Your money's your money. Now the money that he gives me is his money, and I do what he tells me to with what he gives me.
And I'm not going to make the video all about the money and how Jonathan chooses to spend whatever surplus his little racket here can rack up. Because to be perfectly honest with you, I really don't have a big interest in following any of his money transactions concerning the Ark.
But wait a minute, where's all the money going?
Because in my opinion, the money aspect of this whole thing is only meant as a distraction anyways.
Because one of the testicles is an eye. The all-seeing eye.
But look where we're at. We're at Gene Rebel's channel. It's like dogs returning to their vomit. That's what this is. Dogs returning to their vomit.
So what more exactly could I have done to please you, Jonathan? It was mentioned 4 times that you gave Jim $10,000 for that trailer. Everybody just heard it with their own ears, Jonathan. So I have no clue as to why you would accuse me of not even mentioning it.
They didn't mention that, did they? Nah. They didn't mention that I gave him money for the Mustang and the trailer, did they? Nah.
And it should be clear to almost everybody that I went out of my way and let you babble on for a considerable amount of time. More time than needed, that's for sure. You even mentioned it 5 times that you gave Jim $15K for your little centerpiece. You know, the one you park over that big oil stain in your driveway. Plus, I let you explain the $25K and extra goodies that you felt like added in there all nilly-willy. So don't go accusing me of not mentioning something on my channel. Especially when what you're saying never happened. It actually did happen. It happened 9 times, Kleck. That's a far cry from the 0 times that you told everybody it happened.
If we're in a court of law and I brought my witnesses in to go against all these comments that I've saved, it would be a heyday. It's insanity.
I mean, you're a real piece of work, JJ. But it's all coming out. It might be coming out slowly, but it's still coming out nonetheless.
I'm sure Gene will make fun of that because he's so godly and he's so kind and he has such a kind, non-hateful nature. Anyone that's at Gene's channel probably has the same nature. Wouldn't you imagine? I mean, if you're at Gene's channel and you're agreeing with Gene about doing a wonderful job, you probably have the same nature as Gene. Just saying.